So when we look at business leaders, I think the issue of the interaction between government policy and business is really important. And I would summarize it in this way, to say the legislative framework, the policies that we've just talked about, are necessary and for change, but not sufficient.
Yes.
And where that becomes important is in really the execution of what happens within organizations in creating the kind of culture and change that will really allow women to be successful. And to do that really requires companies and their leaders to be very intentional and strategic in the kinds of initiatives that they put in place.
What holds back women in Asia? I'm just looking at the Asia. What holds back women from equal participation in professional work, including politics, including, as I said, some of the non-traditional areas, professions? What holds them back is twofold. One is poverty and inability to get access to required education and skills and capabilities, but also to credit, because women's entrepreneurship is, even now, somebody was talking about nano credit, somebody was talking about micro credit. But women, when we talk about women, we always talk about, credit in those microscopic terms. Why? So we really need to change that discourse. So that is one. So poverty holding back women, and also traditionally, education, if there is a choice of resources being allocated for education in a family, priority would be given to a son's education, whether it is, secondary education, higher education. So this is a typical issue, but it is linked very closely to the issue, the second big challenge for gender equality everywhere, but even in Asia, this is very prominent. Even in developed countries of Asia, it is very prominent, which is this role of culture, religion, tradition, and the interpretation of culture, religion, traditions, and centuries-old patriarchal social norms and structures, and role play, So that is something that we have to overcome.
When you think about, is there any cultural barrier unique to Japan to in many ways impede the more active participation of women in Japanese labor market? I think, of course, the long working hours, that is our culture, the work culture in Japan, that is a very big factor. And that work against women, because women, of course, have a lot of non-work related obligations, and therefore they have to stay in the workplace shorter than what men can in many cases. And so that really must be changed. And some people say that the old boys network, and that's difficult because for many women staying after the 5 and joined informal the old boys network or the drinking together, that is used as a very important place for informally exchange information and about their work, about their performance, about their company. So I think sometimes the women are very much handicapped in that aspect. And secondly, I think there is a very strong traditional perception of traditional gender role, still a very strong in Japan. And so the family, the care work, the heavier burden is on women. And therefore, very difficult for women to be away from the obligation to take care of the family, the children, etc. And men.